Hello, oddballs and rarities. Oddballs and rarities. This is a microphone tap. Microphone, you know. Hey, oddballs and rarities, it's me, a spoon with no opportunity to be big or little because I'm getting thrown at a screen during a showing of The Room. Whatcha?
Why must you do this? Do you think that people would think any less of you if you took down the constant veneer of detached playfulness? If you're so afraid to let people in, then why the f do you post videos on YouTube.com? For someone who relentlessly puts themselves out there, you sure do put up a wall when you perform. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Perform. Like a
Guys, I
big
think we need
bear
to
at a
kill irony.
circus.
Merriam-Webster describes irony as the use of something. Merriam-Webster describes irony as the use of words to express something other than and especially the opposite of the literal meaning. It's given us such useful conventions as sarcasm and satire, and it exists in many other beloved forms such as dramatic irony, which is when the audience knows something that the characters don't, Socratic irony, which is when you pretend to be ignorant about crypto in order to get a crypto bro to mansplain the subject to you and look like a jackass. And there's also situational irony, which is when you sell your exotic bird to buy your friend a CD player for Christmas, but your friend sold all their CDs in order to buy a cool hat for your exotic bird to wear. And that's it, right? That's the full scope of irony. Right? No, that's definitely not the full scope of irony. And see, what I have just done is I have engaged in post-irony, which is when you say something that you actually mean as if it were ironic. See, there's this big scary iceberg of irony that, beetle, get out of that plant. Oh, someone loves sitting in the potted plant so much. You love sitting in the potted plant so much, don't you? You're not supposed to do that. So there's this big scary iceberg of irony that only gets more complicated the further you go down. So much so that it makes my stomach hurt trying to think about it. And I blame it on David Foster Wallace, of course. The beauty of the human mind and what sets us apart as a species is that we're the only member of the animal kingdom that makes things f***ing complicated. When we discover that we can add 2 layers of irony to something, we immediately start to wonder what 4 layers would look like, or 10 layers would look like, or 50 layers would look like, which is how we end up with concepts like post-irony or post-meta irony. And I say concepts very intentionally because I really don't think anyone can truly say what these look like. Honestly, I think at a certain point the layers begin to just flatten out and become redundant and circular and depend very heavily on the context. Like, sometimes a meta-ironic joke is indiscernible from a sincere joke. Like, if I posted a Minion meme unedited on my Instagram, you would be forced to wonder, is Abe being ironic, or does Abe sincerely enjoy Minion memes? And your confusion would be the intended result because I'd be engaging in meta-irony. It could go either way. If you want a better explanation of these ideas, I'd recommend these videos by Drej and David Achu. But just to make sure we're on the same page, let me offer you my brief rundown of what I think are the most important branches of irony that are currently in use. So, of course, we have to start with sincerity. Sincerity is the Minion meme that your grandmother posted on your Facebook page because she saw it and thought it was hilarious. If we want to turn it ironic, you take the same image and replace the text with something like, "Anyone else tired of all these Minion memes?" The irony being due to the fact that this message is brought to you by a Minion meme. Also, if we take the image and color invert it and just add the word money, it becomes an example of postmodern irony, which is basically irony with the intent of mocking or criticizing something, usually to the point of exaggeration or absurdity. Despite the raised level of alienation, the intent is still pretty recognizable as an attack on the greed of corporations like Illumination Studios. This, however, is not to be confused with post-irony. Post-irony is the Minion meme that says, "The state of the world scares me deeply, and I fear that my inability to compartmentalize the dread is due to the fact that our current conditions are genuinely beyond the scope of human reconciliation." A disarmingly sincere statement put through a layer of irony, but ultimately says something it actually means. And the meta-ironic minion meme takes the original text, puts it back on top, and adds a laughing crying emoji, the effect being that no one, not even the original creator, is sure how many layers of irony have been added, or if any have been added at all. The joke is the joke. Or maybe the lack of joke is the joke. I also have to give a shout out to New Sincerity, which would be me making a minion meme that says, guys, I genuinely think that minion memes are funny and charming, despite being fully aware of their ironic conditions surrounding them. You see how this starts to get really confusing? The sincere meme and the meta-ironic meme have the same text at the center. The post-ironic meme could easily be read as a meta-ironic meme. The post-ironic and new sincere meme basically have the same tone. The new sincere meme could easily be interpreted as meta-ironic, and it all has so much to do with how we choose to engage with these images, how we interpret these images, which means that irony has become just as internal as it is external. And the reason I'm diving so deeply into this is because I think we are starting to witness the breaking points of irony where it begins to become legitimately ontologically dangerous. To give an example of this, let's look at some good classic irony. This is where satire and sarcasm live. When Gwen Stefani says, "I'm just a girl," we understand that she is using these words sarcastically and satirically to convey the opposite meaning. A face value reading of the words, "I'm just a girl, a little old me, don't let me out of your sight, I'm just a girl all pretty and petite, don't let me have any rights," might lead you to believe that Gwen Stefani is some sort of trad wife meninist. And technically you would kind of be right, but that's confusing and beside the point because that's not the context of the song. The context of the song is that it is a critique on the patriarchal structure of our society. Here's where our uncritical engagement with this can become dangerous. So when Gwen Stefani says, "I'm just a girl," we understand that she means the opposite, or at least she did at one point. When I say "I'm just a girl" in order to explain why I don't understand the plot structure of Memento, I'm engaging in post-irony because I'm taking a phrase that is commonly recognized as ironic and I'm using it to mean exactly what it says. And in doing so, I am dismissing my own incompetence and I'm attributing that incompetence to my gender and therefore all other members of my gender. Yay! Meta-irony becomes especially dangerous because of the deliberate obscuring of the intent. Let's talk about baby girl Donald Trump for a second. If I post an image of baby girl Donald Trump with the caption, "He's so silly, I love when he stims," some people might take it as a postmodern ironic mockery of Donald Trump, but on the other hand, some people are going to take it as a post-ironic voicing of opinions that I actually have. And then maybe they'll comment on it and be like, "Yes, I agree. Thank you for saying this. I now feel safer voicing the fact that I agree with this. Whoops." And even that sentence could be posted ironically. But as long as people keep saying it, regardless of the intent, it's going to grow in popularity. And then at some point, someone who's not in on the joke, say a non-English speaking immigrant, is going to open Instagram and be like, "Wow, everyone certainly seems to love this guy who has dedicated his entire existence to eradicating me and my family." I just think that we need to employ at least a modicum of critical thought when we say things. I don't think these concepts are inherently bad. I just think that my generation, that being Gen Z, is beginning to run the risk, or maybe we are already there, the risk of losing the ability to be taken seriously, or even losing the ability to take ourselves seriously. I fear that in our attempts to confuse everyone around us, we might be confusing ourselves the most, which leads to a lack of solidarity and critical thought when it comes to our legitimate frustrations. One small step I have chosen to take in order to combat this is to begin removing the layers of internalized irony that I find within my own psyche, which leads me to the hot take of this video, which is, I don't think that ironic enjoyment is real. I understand how to outwardly say or do something. Ow! I put my knee down on the spoon that I threw earlier. I understand how to outwardly say or do something ironically, and hopefully you do too at this point, because I've been explaining it to you in maybe a somewhat contrived way. But how do you feel something ironically? Like, let's say my tummy hurts. If I say, oh, my tummy feels so great right now, I'm being ironic and sarcastic because I'm saying something, which is an outward action. But inside my literal body, my tummy doesn't feel good, but in an ironic way. It just hurts because I had 3 cups of coffee and forgot to eat anything, and now every surface I walk on feels like a trampoline net. When we say that we enjoy something ironically, the words themselves mean that we don't actually enjoy the thing. But in the modern context, typically what we mean when we say we enjoy something ironically is that we do enjoy it. We just don't think that it's necessarily good, or that we can be proud to enjoy that thing. My last video was about developing confidence in your taste, in your opinions on art, and one of the main conclusions I came to was, is it good? Is it bad? Who cares? Do you like it? And I think that mindset directly applies to my argument here. When you say you ironically enjoy Paul Blart Mall Cop, meaning you enjoy it but you don't think it's a good movie, if we remove those occipital notions of good and bad, it starts to look like you actually just like Paul Blart Mall Cop. Does that make it a good movie? Yes. New rule. New rule. Okay? If you like it, it's a good movie. But what about extreme cases? If I'm taking away your ability to ironically enjoy The Room, forcing you to sit with your potentially very sincere enjoyment of The Room, am I then claiming that The Room is a legitimately good... Yes! Yes! Are you not paying attention? Yes, The Room is a legitimately good... Is it not one of the most beloved films of the 21st century? Do people not attend screenings of it in droves? Droves? Whichever one of those is the correct one. Oh, well, people like it because it's bad. I can no longer accept that. I don't think we like things that are bad. If you eat something that tastes so bad that it makes you throw up, you don't like that food, right? More often than not, you'll find people saying things like, I know it's so bad, but I love Taco Bell. If it's so bad, then why do you keep going back for more Crunch Wraps? What you actually mean is that you know it's not healthy, you know it's not worthy of a food critic, you know that it's not authentic Mexican food, but deep in your heart, you know the truth is that you fucking love Taco Bell. And you shouldn't be afraid to say it. You should declare it proudly. You should stand right up on that seat and say, yes, I love Taco Bell because it tastes fucking good. And the fact that it tastes fucking good is all I need to know to confidently say that it is good food. Sure, you could choose to say that The Room is a drama thriller that fails on so many levels that it creates new levels to fail on. Or you could say that The Room is one of the most uniquely funny films ever made, and that you love watching it with your friends, and it makes you laugh, and not in a million years would you trade it for a more competently made version of it. And if we accept the fact that we don't like things because they are bad, we like things because they are good, that forces you to come to the conclusion that maybe The Room isn't beloved because of its failure at drama. The Room is beloved because it achieves comedy. But what about artists' intent? This is where I'm going to start running the risk of contradicting myself in regards to the whole Gwen Stefani I'm just a girl thing. When people say I'm just a girl to get out of doing their calculus homework, this is a misrepresentation of the artist's intent. And I think there is a fair argument that me saying The Room works as a great comedy is a similar misrepresentation. I don't know if you know this, The Room was not exactly intended to be a comedy. Here's what I think the difference is. I do think that artistic intent matters. As an artist, yeah, I sure hope it does. But also, as an artist, I must accept the infinitely variable nature of interpretation, and I must also accept that if I say something ineffectively, my audience has the right to point that out. Just a Girl isn't the best comparison because it is very effective in delivering its message. Most people will instantly be able to tell that the words mean the opposite of what they're saying. And when people co-opt the statement, I think it's less of a misrepresentation and more just people not thinking before they speak. So let's use a different example. And I know this is a wild poll, but hear me out. Kelly Osbourne once said in a message to Donald Trump, if you kick every Latino out of the country, who will be cleaning your toilets? What was intended as a mockery of Donald Trump was worded so poorly that it sounded like a mockery of Latinos. And maybe we shouldn't outright dispense with the intent of this statement. In fact, I think most people can tell what she was trying to say. But what's more widely recognized is that she didn't say it good. Her intent behind this statement doesn't stop it from being a dumb shit thing to say. It's kind of like The Room by Tommy Wiseau. I'm regretting using this analogy because now it's like I have to... While we can acknowledge that Tommy Wiseau's intent was to be the star of a very serious melodrama, that doesn't stop this movie from being funny as and it doesn't stop me from enjoying it as such. My reasons for painstakingly denouncing ironic enjoyment are, for one, as I mentioned, an attempt to minimize our society's confusion around what we think and feel and distance myself from that fear of sincerity. But another aspect is that I feel like we're literally just denying ourselves opportunities to learn about art when we say we enjoy something ironically, because that's a refusal to engage with it deeply. Going back to the Taco Bell analogy, if The Room is so bad, why, out of all the movies that exist in the world, do I keep going back to watch it? Why do I keep getting my friends to watch it? Is it possible that the unintentionally comedic elements of the movie actually speak to me in a way that few other films do? Could I incorporate these elements into my own work in a sincere way? Good and bad aren't objective concepts. So if I truthfully acknowledge my enjoyment of something, and therefore choose to see it as something good, I open up this whole new vein of thought. Maybe the banal pacing of Birdemic actually speaks to me on an experimental level as a method of alienating the audience. Maybe I enjoy Birdemic as a piece of Brechtian theater. Maybe I'm genuinely charmed by Paul Blart. Maybe I think that Kevin James's portrayal of him is very endearing, and maybe I'm in awe of his clear mastery of physical comedy. Is that so bad? Maybe I just actually think that B-Movie is a boring and unfunny film that I don't need to pretend to enjoy on any level. You know Neil Breen? Director without peer, actor par excellence, and Ferrari owner Neil Breen? His films play to sold-out screenings at film festivals across the world. People eagerly await every one of his movies that he puts out. He's a more successful director than I will ever be. Don't you think it's possible that the man knows a thing or two about crafting films that people want to see? I think you do a disservice to yourself when you say that you like these works, but not really. I think it's way more interesting to pick your own mind and figure out what it is about these artistic ventures that compel you to keep revisiting them. It's not about being in denial of poor craftsmanship, it's about accepting the fact that sometimes poor craftsmanship speaks to you. And you shouldn't have to be apologetic about that. Liberate your mind from this worm of irony, or post irony, or meta irony, or post meta irony. These are devices through which to comment on the world, not a shield through which to hide yourself from it. Don't deprive yourself of the ability to fully appreciate something. Okay? I love you guys. I think you're all doing great, amazing things. And that is me being very sincere. And so is this.
Welcome to the dawn of everything you can become. You may not know the reason yet of why you're here, but you can bet that they will let you have the chance to be the master of the dance and lead you onto the floor where you will have a chance at more. Just by giving into groove, to have a chance to let it move you. Standing still, up on the hill, it's such a thrill, you get the chills. And chance is nil, it's gonna kill you. In the end, you can bend out of shape and escape, and escape, and escape. Ascension, millennium. You think you got the feeling, and your soul is not believing. It's ascension, millennium. You got the feeling in your soul. You just gotta let it go.
I'm Abe, and this is a fable. Thank you for being here. You are my number one guy. The room is sincerity. Velocipaster is irony. Sharknado is post-irony. Dark Dungeons is meta-irony. And Who Killed Captain Alex is new sincerity. I think I have that right. I thought about that for a long time. Help me workshop this. I think I'm onto something here.